It's game time. The Kid Gowie. Ravens Nation. All we know is purple and black. And if you're not a Ravens fan, Welcome to Baltimore, Maryland, M&T Bank Stadium, where opponents don't make it out alive unless we bury them. Every team be afraid of them, especially all the quarterbacks, cause our defensive linemen won't hesitate to leave you sack. Let's take a minute, go back to Super Bowl 35. Domination was an understatement up against the Giants. Numerous touchdowns, they put up numbers, and it didn't take a nutritionist to see they hunger. Only stat Kerry Collins could get was interceptions. He must have thought throwing to the D counted as receptions. The pass was legendary, but don't sleep on the present. Our secondary make quarterbacks avoid that direction. You tryna run the ball, you better hope your blockers work. You can juke, you can spin, but your destination's the turf. This is a man's game, being soft will get you hurt. Watch the defense force a fumble and the fans go berserk. 17 weeks, only one league out of 32 squads. No one's messing with our team. We all bleed black and purple, you can check our IVs. Raven Nation fly high, watch us all spread our wings. Put your game face on, embarrass the competition. You ain't talking about the greatest if the Ravens aren't mentioned. Screw every other team, cause those dudes are whack. In Baltimore, the only thing we know is purple and black. Go! They always win when the championship's on the line. So if you hoping that they failed, then you really wasting your time. Go and ask the 49ers, I'm pretty sure they remember when they made a comeback, but weren't declared the winners. 2 rings down, but you know they won't stop now. If the opposing D's caught slipping, you know exactly how that goes. That's another deep connection for 6 points in the end zone. The stadium goes wacko as Ravens put in work. Pittsburgh Steelers, that still curtain is looking more like a skirt. So tell me who they say is gonna beat them Bengals. Who used to be the Browns until they relocated? Ravens, they are one of the greatest. There's simply no denying it. To beat them, bringing your A game's a requirement. With the youth of the team, I bet they still be dominant, even after the greatest linebacker's retirement. 17 weeks, only one league out of 32 squads. No one's messing with our team. We all bleed black and purple, you can check our IVs. Raven Nation fly high, watch us all spread our wings. Put your game face on, embarrass the competition. You ain't talking about the greatest if the Ravens aren't mentioned. Screw every other team, cause those dudes are whack. In Baltimore, the only thing we know is purple and black. Go!
Welcome to another edition of SC Sports. Said that I'm gonna try to do weekly shows while we do free agency. We're gonna do draft prospects. I have my notes here. We're gonna start with free agency, which hasn't been super crazy, but we'll talk about what the Ravens lost and what I saw that the Browns and Steelers and Bengals have done. Also, the rumor that Lamar, the contract got leaked by Adam Schefter. I know if you're on Twitter, you have seen what Adam Schefter said that he knows, right? That what he found out about the contract that Lamar got offered in September, which we'll talk about it later. And then we're gonna go with Zay Flowers and JSN, Jaxon, smith-njigba. Okay, let's go get it started. So first couple of news. We lost Calais Campbell. We didn't lose him. We caught him. I think he is definitely one that got cut but could be back. But I saw the Ravens Twitter, not Ravens Twitter, the team itself, quickly put a team like, oh, he can come back. Well, I think he could. I think he likes Baltimore, but he would if he sees Lamar Jackson being back. I see a path to winning, right? Might be in his last season, right? So I can see him also going to a contender if we don't sign Lamar or we don't make the moves to compete this year. And he says they have a good team, but they're set up for more like a 2 years to like compete, or 3 years. I can see him just going elsewhere. Okay, so we'll see. That's one that you're just what's going to happen. Now on the other side, on the flip side, we did lose Ben Powers. Now Baltimore, and you guys know how much I criticize EDC. Baltimore has done a pretty good job on setting themselves up when they know somebody's going to be a free agent to fill that void the year before. We didn't do a good job on the center. Now we have our center with Linderbaum. But um, think about Chuck Clark. We knew, or they knew, when we drafted Hamilton, I said, like, this is a pick for last year. I did not expect that he was as good as he was as a rookie, but definitely this year, Kyle Hamilton, right? And then you think about Ben Cleveland. Cleveland was drafted hoping that he can push Power out of the way, or maybe not to have Zyler. But anyway, Ben Powers leaves, played great last year. Ben Cleveland, this is your time, right? Year 3, you had enough time to grow, to develop. This is your time. So you should not be panicking for getting a left guard, right? You should have faith in Ben Cleveland. The team knows what Ben Cleveland is. The short spurs has been good. And my assumption also with Falele, the hope is Falele grows during this year. And then the following year, you can say to Moses, hey, Moses, thank you. You've been great for us for 2 years. Maybe trade him, if not cut him, and then plug Falele as a right tackle. Okay. The other guy we like, Josh Oliver. I mean, I was surprised at the deal he got. A great guy. I actually thought he's a very underrated tight end. Love what I see from Josh Oliver. And those are our losses, right? So far, as I know, I'm trying to check if something happened here. 49ers reached an agreement, a 1-year deal with Panthers, Sam Darnold. Okay, so yeah, I don't think we are losing that many players, to be honest. I think they are pretty content where they have. I actually don't think we're gonna. We actually, it's not we cannot right now sign anybody, right? We just basically onto the cap because of the Lamar deal. We'll see what happens. Other news: Jesse Bates left to the Falcons. They did sign Pratt. The Steelers got Patrick Peterson, and the Browns got a couple. I know they got the pass rusher and somebody else. So, the Browns obviously are pushing money to the future. Whatever, that's a strategy. No big names, still have some cap. Still haven't pushed money to the future necessarily. Patrick Peterson, I didn't see the contract, but I'm not expecting to be huge. And then the Pratt one was decent. Nothing like breaking, but decent. Anyway, so that's been it that concern us. Those are the things that concern us. Now, let's go to the other side. Lamar Jackson, rumor has it, whatever it's worth, they were offering him close to 200 mil. It was 133 million. It sounded like signing bonus to me, which is like, damn, right? And then some injury guarantees. So if he gets injured, there's a portion that gets guaranteed. And there was another portion that I couldn't quite understand it that also was guaranteed. So added about 195 mil. Okay. That was September 2022. Think about this. Jaxon Anderson reported that by last week, that they made their strongest offer. They upped the offer. So we know they were around 195. By the way, Lamar Jackson also said this. We acting like it's breaking news. Lamar Jackson last year said it was between 180 and 190 guaranteed. So now Adam Schefter said it's about 195 last year in September. My assumption is if Jaxon Anderson said like they put a stronger offer, their best offer like a week ago, just before the tagging deadline, we're talking 200 plus, and Lamar didn't accept it. Why did he not accept it? They keep saying, or Stephen A. Smith keeps saying, well, his camp said not fully guaranteed, but if they're over 200 and it's, let's say, a 5 to 50, it's not much left for not guaranteeing, right? You can say, well, Sonny's not much left. Why they don't guarantee it? Oh, because Same if there's a lot of injuries on his career, whatever. But that's one less year. It was a year earlier that they can get out of the contract, right? That's where we are with Lamar. And teams cannot talk to Lamar. Now, remember what I said last week. The market is not set up for Lamar this year, sadly for him. The Raiders signed Jimmy Garoppolo, whatever. I mean, I'm surprised that that's the route that they want to go. But Josh McDaniels coached Garoppolo for like a couple of games, and he feels comfortable with him. We have actually the two teams that should be going for Lamar are the Commanders and the Buccaneers, but the Buccaneers are supposedly tapping their toes in Baker Mayfield. And the other team is the Atlanta Falcons. And once you go after the Atlanta Falcons, you cannot count on the Texans because they're going to draft one. You cannot count on the Panthers. They're drafting one. You cannot count on the Colts because they're drafting one. And I'm missing one. Texans. I'm missing one. They have the other quarterback, right? I'm blanking right now. But those teams you cannot count that they're going to offer sheet to Lamar because they're going to sign one of these quarterbacks. The analyst said to you, like, these are strong class for QB. So that's also what teams are probably thinking. So you will think one goes to Panthers, the other one goes to the Texans, the third one goes to the Colts, and the fourth one goes to, I don't know, whoever's left, right? In the musical, maybe it's to Atlanta. And if it is to Atlanta, think about this. Who else is left? The Commanders, right? Because the Oakland is content. Then it's the Commanders and the Buccaneers. That's it. That literally you can think about that is Lamar Jackson's market right now, which is insane. Yes, I mean, could be the Lions if they want to trade Jared Goff, maybe. I suggested that the Texans should, before the tagging, I suggested the Texans could assign Lamar or trade for Lamar, giving up their 2 firsts this year, and they still had an early second and 2 firsts the following year. So they have a bunch of assets and they can bring Lamar. Doesn't look like they're more content. Let's go get the rookie we want, and let's go in that direction. Okay. Saying all that, it's going to be interesting. On Wednesday is when teams can go talk to Lamar. And what I'm waiting to see is how much noise we get, right? Or is it dead silence? That's going to tell you a lot. The matching, I keep hearing this narrative that, the Ravens can match it. For the Ravens to match, they need to match the exact contract. That means a team like Atlanta or Tampa Bay or whoever, Commanders, they can get creative. They can say, you know what, we're gonna front load. Not even on guarantees. They can front load, or they can load it in a way that they say the Ravens cannot match this without cutting a bunch of players, which it can lead for the Ravens to just not signing Lamar. So that cannot be the main issue. And trade compensation either, because the Panthers just literally traded a bunch of assets for a quarter, or for the rights to get a quarterback, a rookie. So those are the main two things, right? So I don't think the fact that the Ravens are matching to be a problem for another team, because they can get creative and they can almost prevent the Ravens to sign it, or they can talk to the Ravens straight up. Hey, let's just make a trade. I'm not gonna sign an offer sheet. I'm gonna trade you for Lamar. We have this deal in principle, but I don't want to put it out there. I want to trade with you and get whatever assets, and maybe get the 2 firsts and a second for them to leave Lamar alone. It's just plain and simple. I think the risk for other teams is not there. And like I said, think about how many teams are left that need a quarterback. Take the 4 rookies and put them on the side with 4 teams, right? Put Jimmy Garoppolo, as insane as that sounds, put him there in the corner with the Raiders, right? Who's left? The Buccaneers? The Commanders? That might be it, right? Okay, before I go and read my draft profile, let me read some comments here that I have. Crazy first day of free agency, Sunny. You say Sam Darnold to the 49ers, yes. Steelers got watch out Peterson. They did. Guapo here says, "What up, bro? Hope you've been well, my Pierre brother." Hey, Team Rubio. I don't have my blonde hair, but Team Rubio. Tonight we need to beat Israel, and then I might have to stay up to watch them against Dominican Republic. Beat Dominican Republic to make it to the next round. For those that haven't been following the BBC World Baseball Classic, Orioles also, but Santander killed my Puerto Rican squad. He had a 3-round bomber. Anyway, Lamar's running out of teams that need QB, and that is the thing. My question here is, does Lamar, not this week, but next week, look at himself like, shit, nobody, which if it's probably frustrating, but it's not like if what his leak is true, it's not like the Ravens are shortchanging him. And I think he could probably come to the Ravens and whatever the best and final, just so he can say, I squeeze $1 more. Say, hey, give me $1 million more per year and we call it a deal. Not even guaranteed. Just give me $1 million more per year and call it a deal. And I think the Ravens will do that. Okay? So it's crazy, right? I mean, in theory, the Ravens can also come back on the other side and say, like, there's no market, Lamar. I'm going to pull some of this money out. There's no market, right? I was thinking this the other day. How many times trading for a QB, since trading for a QB with a big contract has worked? Not even signing a big money QB. Look at Kirk Cousins. Has that deal actually worked? They went further out with Case Keenum, right? I'm not saying obviously Lamar's not as good as these other guys. Lamar's better than these guys. But I'm just saying those are what teams are thinking. So let me see. If I went to PR, what area is a must see while in there with my fan? Raven Run. DM me. DM me. We can talk offline. I don't mind. I don't mind giving you tips. DM me. I'll give you all the tips depending what you want to do. Do you want to go to different spots of the island? That's the short answer. But DM me. We'll go and talk through it. Okay, let's talk about this prospects here. Hold on. Let me make sure nothing crazy happened here. Justina Anderson. Devontae Adams. If put a black square. If we haven't talked in the last 3 weeks, don't hit me about this shit. Thanks. Devontae ain't happy. Probably because Devontae ain't going nowhere because the cap hit will be insane. They will be insane. Okay. Let's talk about Jaxon, Smith-Njigba. Look, here's what I have on my notes. Last week we talked about Johnston and Addison. And I said Addison looks to me way more like a number 2. Actually, I think Addison is a version of Hollywood Brown coming out of college. Actually, Hollywood Brown might have been a better prospect coming out of college, in my opinion, than what Addison is. And in the case of Johnston is a guy that I wanted to love, but there's something missing there. And I think if what is missing, he puts it together, he can be a phenomenal receiver. I actually think he could be great. He has a very high ceiling. The floor could be low for Johnston, okay? That's why I think he should be more of a second round. But that body and all that, that's why he's probably going to go to the first round. Anyway, let me talk about JSN. Okay. Possibly the best route runner that I've seen coming out of college. Since I started watching film more and more, in depth, possibly the best route running receiver coming out of college. He creates separation. If you like to watch basketball, right? I mean, I grew up watching the NBA. The NBA is not what it used to be, in my opinion. But I grew up watching the NBA. I have so many stories about that. But when you're watching basketball, somebody cross you over and you break the ankles, and the guy's on the floor, right, on the court. This is how JSN gets separation. The dude is so smooth, like legit smooth, on the route running that he just breaks ankles. I mean, not necessarily the guys are on in the turf or in the field, but the guys are just, as soon as he moves to the one side, he just gets lost. Okay, separation, right? That's what I was talking. Hands, his hands are really good. I think that's not my number one. That's literally my number one. You can be a slow poke. I would just want hands. Ball tracking. He tracks the ball well. He adjusts his body well. He has good body control. He knows how to stretch and get the ball. He this is something that I was like, what? Every time I saw a catch, by the way, you had to go not to this year, the year before to see him play. This year, it was a couple catches and it was hard to find a lot. He was injured, which concerned me. I'll talk about that. But when he catches the ball, he doesn't even look like he's going super fast. And we'll talk about his speed. But same as his route running, he is movement wide. He knows how to juke. That's the perfect way. He knows how to juke the opponent in such a way that they get stuck, right? Stuck on the field, and then he's out. My cons with him, the injury was a hammy, and that hammy lasted a long time. Now, in college, you see some of players that would be like, my position in the draft is set. Why would I risk it, right? And you know what? Just tell me. Just tell me if that's what you do. I have more respect on that side. The other question I have is is he a slot only receiver, right? That's what he played for the most part. Not last year, the year before. Another question that I have with him is, was his production a factor that he played with Chris Olave, right, and Garrett Wilson, right, defecting him to have maybe sometimes the third worst corner, and he was just eating them alive? That is a question that I don't know a lot of people are bringing, but that's obviously a concern for me. For he does not have that get out speed, meaning he has clean release, and I think he has clean release because, again, his route running is just stupid, right? It's just stupid good. But when I saw him sometimes get open by route running beautifully, the corners can get to him. He's not creating separation once he catches the ball, right? If it is in the open field, it's different because he knows how to juke people. But if not, if somebody's tracking him back, people can get to him. Now, specifically for the Ravens, what I see with this is we have a guy named Bateman. Can we use my guy here, Jaxon, smith-njigba? Sure. He is, I was talking about floor and ceiling. His floor is very high. But I think what you're getting right now with Njigba is close to what it is, right? It is close to what you're gonna get. There's no let me grow and make him a superstar. I think he is gonna be a good receiver, good productive receiver. I think he is I actually not even sure if he's gonna be a number one. Right? The last time I remember reviewing a slot receiver that I wanted for the Ravens was Justin Jefferson, and I remember saying, please don't go to Minnesota because they have Thielen, and I don't know if you're going to be more than a slot, but he's a hell of a receiver, and he became a hell of a receiver. And again, I wanted him for the Ravens. He went before we drafted, but I don't know if Njigba's him. Justin Jefferson will look way better in the tape, as I remember that Njigba was gonna be good. And if he happens to go to a team that has a number one, whoever team is, right? Whoever the team is that has a number one receiver is looking to add a number two, then he's gonna be great. If on the other side a team gets in, it's just depending on who. I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna be that great. I think he's gonna be good. But I don't know if he's going to be what Ravens are expecting about first round receiver. Okay. So Jaxon Smith-Njigba, a good prospect. If you drafted him, I think he's going to be good. I just think what he brings to the field, like I'm looking for, like Johnston, if he becomes a Raven, I can see him bringing stuff that we don't have, right? Addison, I'm not even sure. I think what Duvernay has, he can potentially do what Allison has, right? JSN, I think what Bay brings is might be even better than what JSN has. Okay. Shout out to Ravens Medical here with a super chat. Jaxon smith-njigba is the most complete wide receiver in the draft. Route running speed, great hands. He tore his bicep femoris muscle in his hamstring, which held him out 5 weeks, which concerned me. I agree with the route running and the great hands. Both, I think I did mention the hands, yes. But the speed is, I don't think he has the speed. I don't even know if he ran the 40. Again, I didn't watch the combine. As I said before, the combine used to influence me too much, and I said, I'm gonna stop that. I'm not even gonna watch the combine. I glazed to it, but I kind of like, oh my god, I cannot tell you who ran who was the faster receiver, and none of that. Okay. Anyway, shout out to you, Ravens Medical. If you want to stay on top of all health things, not only for Ravens, for everything, check my guy, Ravens Medical, on Twitter and YouTube. Okay. So, saying to finish with JSN, good receiver. I think he will be an impactful player for the Ravens. I just think there are other receivers that might bring more, right? But is he a good receiver? Yes. Is he gonna be a potential Pro Bowler? I think he is a potential Pro Bowler. I don't think he is a perennial Pro Bowler. Okay, can he and Bateman be a good combination? For sure. Let's talk about Zay Flowers now. Zay Flowers. Shout out to somebody, a Bengals fan. Tag me on Twitter. Put a mock draft. To be fair, tag us, all four of us. And he mocked Zay Flower to us. And I put an emoji, me getting mad because I was like, I don't want no 5'10" receiver. Right? I do not. Bateman is above 6 feet barely. By the way, Jaxon smith-njigba is 6'1". Duvernay, I don't think Duvernay 6 feet. He's probably 5'11" on a good day. Bateman 6 feet. Pro, I don't think Pro 6 feet. And Wallace, I don't think he's 6 feet. 6 feet. And then you have Victor and the others that they're not like regular starters or in the 53-man roster, so I'm not going to mention them for now. Our big guys are in the tight end side. So I'm like, 5'10"? Why am I going to be looking at 5'10"? But anyway, enough people said, no, go check it out, blah, blah, blah. And so Raven Ron here says, purchase 5'11". Raven Medical says, the Renee 5'11". Again, not even 6 feet tall. And I think Bate is like 6 foot. And I think my guy Wallace is about 6 feet, maybe a little less. Anyway, so I put my bias out there, right? I said, like, I looked for Johnston. I wanted to fall in love with Johnston, and there's something missing, right? On the other side, I wanted to hate Zay Flowers. I wanted to say, I don't want him. I don't want it. Because if you're going to give me a sub 6 feet receiver, give me a third rounder, right? Same thing with Downs. Same thing with Dell. I know these are small receivers. I start to look at them. Give it to me later. Oh, Sean Bateman 6'1". Okay. 6'1" on a good day. But anyway. But then I look at the tape for Zay Flowers. I love him. I love him. I don't know if I want us to draft him, but I love him. See, when we took Hollywood Brown, you can go back and check that video for me and Nubo, and I was frustrated. I did not want Hollywood Brown. There's something on Hollywood. He was not my favorite. Now, when he grew up on me, and then we traded him. But Zay Flowers, I love Zay Flowers. This dude is insane. Great hands. Now, he has some drops, but when I say great hands, he has strong hands. And also, I want to also put the caveat, I don't even know who BC College, who the BC quarterback is, but he wasn't super accurate, right? Zay Flower will have to go down, go up, go to the sides, right? He was all over. It was like wing, whatever his wingspan is, radius, right? So let's say Zay was taking a slant or drag route, instead of, and Lamar does this, by the way, throw it on in front of the receiver, lead him, throw it to the back, right? Now he has to slow his momentum and all that. Anyway, dude is aggressive. My God, he is aggressive, and what we're missing from a receiver is damn aggressive, man. I'm watching this dude, and I'm like, is this a mini Steve Smith, right? Because he wants the damn ball. Because I remember telling you guys, what Lamar needs is an Anquan Bolden, right? And then I said Steve Smith. Anquan Bolden was a bigger receiver. Steve Smith was a small receiver, but God, the Steve Smith wanted the ball, right? And even if you go back, Derek Mason, we usually had the scrappy receiver that wants the ball more than anybody, and not the fastest, not the flashiest, but they want the ball and they get the damn ball. And again, C5 was 5'10". I don't remember what Steve Smith was. If one of you can check, but he wasn't big. But God knows he wanted the ball. Okay, aggressive. He gets the ball. When the BC College threw a deep ball, he went and got the ball. He sometimes had to slow down to grab the ball. He sometimes had to accelerate to get the ball. He sometimes had to almost like on the top of the route run a post to get the ball. But he went and got the ball. He has that 1-2. This dude is fat. He blazed through corners. He blazed through anybody. Not only that, when he catches the ball, he becomes like a running back. Not only he's slippery, he doesn't have the moves like JSN, right? He does not have the route running ability that JSN has, or the smoothness, but he is, since he's faster, all it takes is sometimes just a subtle step, and boom, he's gone. And again, he's strong for being a 5'10" dude. He's very strong. Adjusted the ball well, right? And as I was saying, he looks to make the play. Even if the ball's a little behind, if the ball's a little in front, he always looks to make the play, and he usually comes down with the ball. I actually think, which with JSN, I was saying we can put him in the slot, right? Possibly, and that's essentially what everybody's saying. With this dude, I think he can play outside, even though he's small. I know he can play the slot. He can be a weapon. Zay Flower is a weapon. Like this dude, I'm looking at him, I'm like baffled what I've seen. Now, the level of competition, not the greatest. Also, again, with JSN, I was like, he has so much with him. I wonder if a team that does not have the supporting cast and he becomes number one, how is he going to handle that, getting a top corner all the time? In the case of, say, Flowers, he got the top corner, right? And he still made plays. This dude was, you know his con exercise, right? Exercise. That's it. If you want to know the con for, say, Flower, it is his size. That's it. Other than that, right? If you want to put another con, he doesn't have crisp routes like JSN. Now, I watched JSN first, so obviously after that, comparing him, say Flower has decent route running ability, not even close to JSN. But other than that, size and not super crisp. I mean, JSN has route running like a pro does, right? Like a legit pro. And there's pros that don't even have and never have what JSN has on the route running side. So Zay Flowers does not have that. But everything else, this dude does well. Everything else, this dude does well. So I love everything about Zay Flowers. Now, how does he fit with the Ravens? Again, the biggest issue is he's a small receiver. And I would prefer a taller receiver since, again, we went through Duvernay 5'11", Rashad Bateman 6'1", Pro less than 6 feet. Pro's 5'11", right? So all these right? So we have sub 6 footers in our roster, putting another one. But he's fast. Again, I don't know what his 40 time is, but you can see he catches the ball and he's gone. Versus, like, again, JSN, he doesn't have that second tier speed. This dude's gone. Like, he looks fast on the field. He plays fast. He has strong hands. He is a bulldog. He fights for every yard. I like his aggressiveness. He's a go-getter. He wants to fight for the ball. This is everything I want. I'm gonna even say this much. If Johnston had the ability of Zay, or if Zay had the ability of Johnston, we're talking about Hall of Famer. Because the only limited factor of Zay is his height. So, dude is amazing. So, the only thing is, if you say, Sonny, will you be excited if they draft Zay? I will be, but at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be like, oh, man, it's a smaller receiver. But I think if they utilize him well, he can be really good for us. Okay? So those are my draft profiles for JSN and Zay Flowers. I might take a question or two, but also make sure you hit the bell so you know when I come live. Also, if you can do me a favor, this helps a lot. Just leave a comment on this video. Even when we finish, tell me what you think about both prospects. Tell me about what you're thinking about the free agency period. It helps me a lot with the algorithm. I know I abandoned the channel a little bit, so I'm struggling to create the views that I had before. So if you want to help me, that is a way to do it. Paul Masek says Calais is released. Yeah, and I think, as Ravens team has said, he could come back, but I also think Calais Campbell wants a championship. So, oh, by the way, here's a tweet: 133 million for Lamar Jackson. 133 million. This is what the Ravens offer him in 2022. 33 million due at signing. 175 million with injury. So if he got injured, he still would have got more money, up to 175. Not up to. He would have gotten 175. And 200 million if on roster on 5th day of 2026. So on year 3 of the contract, if he's on roster, he gets 25 more million guaranteed. So up to 200 million. Now you can say, Sonny, but it's not 200 million fully guaranteed on day 1. Yes, the team is trying to protect some of that asset, which I don't think is horrible. Lamar, essentially, if you are in 3 years still good, right, still healthy, and you're getting 200 mil guarantee, I don't think that's such a bad offer. I actually think it's a good offer. But this definitely leads you to believe that what Lamar is looking is for a fully guaranteed contract. Okay, so with that, guys, next week, I'm not sure yet. I start watching Downs. I start watching Dell. I don't know if I want to do that. I might jump into Joey Porter Jr. and Bennett and the Maryland corners. So I might jump into that. Shout out to you, Raven Rasta. So I might jump into those and see on the other side, right, on the defensive side, how are these prospects doing. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Again, if you can, leave me a comment below. That helps me a lot. I will see you this week on AFC North. Shout out to y'all. Thank you.